What a bonkers day in baseball. The wild card round is just absolutely wild as the Phillies advance, eliminating the Cardinals in back-to-back games here. A 6-run output in the ninth in Game 1, and then they shut down St. Louis in Game 2, a 2-0 final. Your reaction is what to the Fightin' Phils moving on to the NLDS?
Initial reaction is ridiculous. I mean, I certainly didn't think they were going to sweep in St. Louis. I thought the Cardinals would dispatch of them rather easily. And Game 1 looked like, yeah, it's 2-0 going to the ninth. The Phillies aren't going to get much going here. But look, this is the way the formula has to be for them. Going into the playoffs, you would have thought they have to ride Nola and Wheeler hard, patch it together in the bullpen however they can, and get timely power hitting. Well, today, Bryce Harper hits the home run, so they're up 1-0. They scratch across the insurance run later with Kyle Schwarber hitting a deep fly for a sac fly. That's 2. Nola went out and threw great. You know, he especially to end the 6th inning. There's a runner on base. Goldschmidt and Arenado come up. He strikes him out to end the threat. And, of course, later in the 8th, Sir Anthony Dominguez, same thing, 2 runners on this time. Goldschmidt and Arenado, he strikes them both out. They neutralize the threat. Now, the Cardinals did get something going in the 9th, but Eflin was able to get out of it. So it's, this is how it's going to have to be for the Phillies. They're going to give their fans a heart attack every single game. But if they can piece it together in the bullpen, behind their excellent starting pitching, if they can get some big home runs, probably need some 3-run home runs mixed in there and not just rely on a solo home run to do the heavy lifting, this is the way it's going to be if they're going to try to make a deep run. It's a lot of fun to watch. They're not going to be great defensively, especially at the corner outfield spots. But, hey, Alec Boehm at third base made some great defensive plays today, and Boehm actually hit the ball well as well. Like I said, they're a fun team to watch, probably not as much if you're a Phillies fan because you'll be biting your nails the whole time. But from the outsider's perspective, it's a lot of fun to watch their games. 2
teams snapping long postseason droughts. Of course, we know about the Mariners, their first playoff since 2001. But the Phillies snapping a 10-year playoff drought, first playoff since 2011. And here they are grinding out at bats. I want to take you back to Game 1, right? Bryce Harper down in the count. He works a walk, and then the inning just ensues, and it unravels for St. Louis. And then he scores the game's first run with a solo homer. I mean, this is why people, they'll sit there and they might count out Bryce Harper, that he's a free swinger, but no. He will work at bats. He will work the count. He is a smart hitter, and sometimes he can be inconsistent. But this is when you need your stars to be your stars. And that at-bat yesterday may not get as much as hype as the home run he hits in Game 2, but this is the little things that win you baseball games.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some good signs with him. Now, he came back from the broken thumb probably faster than anybody expected at all. It did not take that long at all. It was only 6 weeks or so after he had surgery on his thumb, and he struggled since he came back. And the home run that he hit tonight was his first one to right field, first pulled home run that he's hit since he came back from having the broken thumb. I wonder if it's the first time he really felt like he got out in front of the ball. Now, it was a breaking ball. It was not a fastball, but still, probably felt like an enormous sigh of relief, a little weight off his shoulders, like, okay, yeah, man, I can do this. And we've talked about it before. One of the things about baseball players like Bryce Harper is they're so supremely confident to the point of cockiness that when they're on, they stand in the batter's box and think, you can't get me out, man. I'm going to hit a home run right now. I don't know if he was feeling like that until he hit that home run tonight. To get that boost of confidence to go into the Braves series, Kyle Schwarber's already feeling really good for them at the top of the order. Real Muto's had some really good at-bats in these playoffs already. To get that look from Bryce Harper there, they could still use Nick Castellanos to get going, but they had Boehm have some big knocks in this series as well. I think that they'll have some decent confidence going into Atlanta there against the defending champs.
How about Aaron Nola here? I mean, his last 2 starts. Nails. Have been incredible. 6 2/3, a scoreless baseball, 4 hits, 6 punch-outs in this one. What did you see from Aaron Nola?
I mean, he's a workhorse. He's a throwback workhorse. He's one of those guys. I mean, he's not to the extent that Sandy Alcantara was this year, but he's one of the bigger guys in the league when it comes to racking up innings and just going out and giving that workload. And I actually thought they probably could have left him in to face Yadier Molina to end the 7th inning, but I understood when they took him out. But he's usually, you feel like he can go against the Braves and give them 7 innings, maybe even 8 if he's going well in the NLDS. And, if they made a deeper run, maybe we'll even see a complete game in the playoffs. And, man, we never see those anymore. But he's that type of workhorse that he's going to go and get deep into games. He had his good stuff tonight. He had the breaking ball working. He was very confident with the fastball, especially against Goldschmidt and Arenado to end the 6th inning. As I said, he just went after him. It wasn't messing around. It wasn't nibbling. It was, I'm just going to go after these guys and say, I'm going to throw my fastball in the strike zone and see if you can beat me. And they couldn't do it. He's a workhorse, man.
Yeah, and ultimately, the Phillies move on. But for St. Louis, this is the end for 3 legends, 2 future Hall of Famers in Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina. Adam Wainwright had a heck of a career, not a Hall of Famer, still one of the all-time greats in St. Louis Cardinals history. Sure, you can make an argument for Adam Wainwright if you want to. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I think you'd probably agree that he's not a Hall of Famer. Been injured, didn't do much, but still one of the all-time. I want to give him his credit. One of the all-time greats. Helped him win a World Series. A couple of them. I know he was injured in one of the years, but this is hard to swallow if you're a St. Louis Cardinals fan. Because you sat here in this series thinking, man, we got a really good chance to have a deep run, and now this all of a sudden ends. I mean, look, Pujols got a single in the 8th in his final at bat. Yadier Molina got a single in the 9th in his final at bat. I mean, really, this is sad for the way they end, the way this wraps up for them.
I think so. I mean, the way that they played coming out of the gate in the second half and the way they overtook the Brewers and steamrolled them, really, they were trailing the Brewers for much of the first half of the season, and they ended up winning the division by 7 games. They looked like one of the best teams in baseball through the second week in September. They sputtered a little bit after that, but, they didn't really need it. They already had the division wrapped up. They were going to be the number 3 seed all along. So I didn't really put as much stock into the last 2 weeks. I didn't think, oh, man, they're going to get bounced in the first round. They had the stuff to maybe stand toe-to-toe with the Braves and maybe knock them off, maybe stand toe-to-toe with, say, the Dodgers and the NLCS and maybe advance to the World Series, and it could have been a storybook finish for that triumvirate of guys who won 2 rings with the Cardinals in 2006 and 2011. Now, Wainwright was hurt in 2011, but he was still around. He was kind of their cheerleader. He definitely celebrated a lot in all their celebrations, but they've been through a lot with this team. And after Pujols signed and went to the Angels, Molina and Wainwright were still around for a World Series in 2013. They won the division with 100 games in 2015. The Cardinals still have made the playoffs a lot, but they haven't won the World Series since 2011, and these 3 went out in this fashion in 2022. I agree with you that I think that there are a lot of people with some bad taste in their mouths right now.
Yeah. I got to ask you about Albert Pujols and what we saw down the stretch. 24 homers. He gets to 700, finishes with 703 in his Hall of Fame career. Captivated the sports world down the stretch here. What will you remember about his career? 22 seasons, obviously played with the Angels, Dodgers last season. You remember him as a Cardinal, of course. I mean, a heck of a career, but the way he goes out, I mean, what a regular season to get to 700 home runs.
It was really cool. His second half was amazing, and I believe we talked about it a couple times when we said it wasn't just always having a great second half for a 42-year-old. No. You didn't even need that qualifier. He was having one of the best second halves in all of baseball among everybody, no matter the age. And that was really cool, like I said, to see him go out that way because there's a reason he got the nickname The Machine. He was that good in his early Cardinals years. He was the best hitter in baseball for 6 or 7 years, and it would have been longer, except he just overlapped with Barry Bonds at the start of his career. Just an unbelievable career. And I thought it was good that he went out with the Cardinals with a big second half because the last couple years with the Angels, he was not very good at all, and it came to kind of a bad end there. And I know the old saying, everything ends badly or else it wouldn't end. Well, this actually ended well with Pujols in St. Louis, and other than the playoff loss. But the way he went out individually was nice, and it was kind of nice to see shades of the old Machine. He wasn't all the way back, but I mean, that was one of the best 10 hitters in the history of baseball. He wasn't ever going to get that back. But it was really cool to see him kind of show shades of his old self and give memories to what he was when he was with the Cardinals. Other than, I should say, as a Cubs fan, seeing me, I got a few flashbacks to all the nightmares he gave me for 10 years with the Cardinals.
Yeah, two-time World Series champ, three-time NL MVP, future first ballot Hall of Famer. What a career he had, 22 seasons in the big leagues, and he will retire here at season's end as the Phillies send him into retirement. At least he got a single in his final at bat. I mean, that was cool, and the fans gave him a standing ovation, and the same for Yadier Molina. Gave him an ovation as well. 19 seasons. I know they did something at the end of the regular season for the three and Adam Wainwright, but at least cool to see that for them and what they have meant to that city and to that organization. All right, let's spin this forward because now it's the Phillies and Braves. And this was a pretty even series during the regular season. Atlanta won 11 of the 19 meetings, and the runs scored were pretty even. It was 88-85 in favor of Atlanta. What would have to happen here? Because I could sit here and say, well, how do they match up? But what would have to happen for the Phillies to pull off another upset?
I think you have to say, going into the series, they need to get the Wheeler and Nola starts. So that would be, in all likelihood, games 2 and 3. And then maybe they'll figure something out in game 5 where Nola would be on short rest. Or it would be Wheeler in game 2, so game 5, Wheeler would be on short rest. Maybe they start Ranger Suarez and have him get through the lineup once and then piggyback him with Wheeler. Maybe vice versa. They start Wheeler on short rest, see how far he can go until he looks like he's going to get tired. But I think that you have to start there. You have to say, we need the Wheeler and Nola starts just like they just got in St. Louis. They won those 2 games. That has to be the formula, and they're going to need timely home runs. And like I said, they're probably going to need multi-run home runs this time around. Get guys on base, get somebody like Kyle Schwarber with a big 3-run blast, and have your workhorse starters take over. And Ranger Suarez is by no means a pushover. He was really, really good down the stretch, other than his last start, but that was the day after they clinched against the Astros, so maybe we could throw that one out. But it has to be starting pitching and timely power hitting. That's going to be the formula. Probably needs to happen early in the game, because with that Braves bullpen, they could really shorten the game between Kenley Jansen and A.J. Minter and Colin McHugh. They really, really shorten the game. Raisel Iglesias is another one. They really could shorten the games there. So I kind of feel like they need to hop on the Braves a little early so they don't have to deal with that at the end of the game.
Well, they've been underdogs once before, and they knocked out the St. Louis Cardinals in 2 games as they move on to Atlanta in the NLDS. That series beginning Tuesday in Atlanta. Matt Snyder here on CBS Sports HQ. Matt, appreciate it. All right, so here's the National League bracket. The Phillies moving on as they win the first 2 games in a best-of-3 to face the Braves in the NLDS. That's a best-of-5 again. That series begins Tuesday in Atlanta. As for the other side, the bottom of the National League bracket here, the Mets stave off elimination. They even up the series on Saturday as Jacob deGrom pitches well. The offense gets going. Francisco Lindor with a homer to get the scoring started. So they'll have a game 3 of that series coming up on Sunday. The winner of that game on Sunday night will move on to face the Dodgers in the NLDS.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.